Hi, this is Kelly Maniatis, and I'm very happy you decided to click on and watch this free training on one of my favorite topics. The reason why it's one of my favorite is because when I get asked this question, and I get asked this question quite a lot about how do I find my genius zone, when I give people answers, I automatically see people's confidence rise. I mean, immediately. So I thought I'll pull together this training. I really hope after watching this free training you feel the same. I would love for you to let me know by leaving any comments in the comments section or email me at hello@leftfieldco.com.au. I really want to hear from you after the training if it has inspired you to discover and grow your very own genius zone, because we all have that. We all have a genius zone. First thing I would like to do is get you to write down, so grab a pen and paper, the number one issue you have had about your own genius zone. So thinking that through, what is those issues that you have? It could be a feeling, a concern, or a problem that you think you have with your genius zone. Take a few moments, really consider what is really troubling you with your genius zone. I've had a lot of people really think this through and giving me their thoughts about what's going on with their genius zone. And there's a couple of things that immediately come out when I speak to people, and I wonder if it's the same for you. One is lost in finding out exactly what is that you're really good at, not finding it and being really unsure. The second thing is that if you think you have a genius zone, you actually don't think it's really significant to then build a wildly successful career and life. I don't know if you feel the same way, if those were the things that you thought of or a variation of it, but usually it's these things that you generally feel lost as to what you're really good at. And then if you do find it, you're not really quite sure how to make that a significant thing to build a career out of. So this is me. Some of you might have seen me before on a Facebook ad or in my networks, just generally around the place. So I thought I'd just, for those that don't know me, here's a picture of me because you can't really see me, you can only hear from me. So I'm Kelly Maniatis, okay? And a few things about me. First off, I'm an organisational psychologist. I thought I'd share a little bit about my genius zone, which is translating, that psycho babble into practical, actionable steps, and I love teaching. I've been a psychologist for 15 years, and I've been a founder of Left Field Co for over 9 years, which is amazing. And there's a few people that I've worked with. I've actually coached and trained upwards of 10,000 leaders and team members, and these are some of the clients that I intimately work with. So I get to work across a number of different industries. So from that, I guess I get to see so many different things that there's something that really makes me quite unhappy when I look into or go into workplaces. And that's that I often see people really not living out their genius zone. And what I do see is people working in their comfort zone, wasting away their talent, and then reducing their genius zone into insignificance. This happened would have been a couple of days ago, literally, that I spoke to a person in a workshop that was doing something that was really clearly in their genius zone. And I sort of made a comment because one of my genius zones is finding other people's genius zones. And I made a comment and sort of said, you're really good at that. You really need to hone into that. And this is the comment that I got back, and which makes me really unhappy. He turned around and said, look, anyone can do that. Anyway, it's not like it can be turned into a great career. And I thought, oh, that makes me so really, really sad, that even when you find it, you sort of dismiss it away. I don't know if you've heard that or have even had that, comment that's come out of your mouth as well. What I want you to really think about is the reality. The reality is that we'll be going to work for a really long time. Okay, we live longer, we have more financial imperative to live longer, and its chances are it's going to be longer than your parents and your grandparents. Even right now, people are working beyond the 65 years. of age. So the question I have to ask you is, how many more years of work have you got left, right? And how would you feel if you're doing the same thing right now in all the years that you have left in work? Seriously, think about that. How would you feel if you're doing the same thing right now? This is really important if you've already identified that you're not working within your genius zone, or if you do have your genius zone, you've just dismissed it away and made it quite insignificant in the grand scheme of your career. You know, also, we make a bit of a mistake. I hear people say this to me: do I become specialized and that's my genius zone? So I really want to call this out. Don't confuse your technical expertise with your genius zone. People make this mistake to think, well, if I become specialized, narrow in a particular skill set, or become really, really technical, the go-to person, this is living my genius zone. In fact, that's not necessarily the case. You could be a technical expert not living in your genius zone. You're just doing something within your technical qualification or skill set. Look, it might be a case where what you become specialized in or an expert in is in your genius zone, and that's obviously the ultimate, that you can marry that up. But not necessarily that in order to find your genius zone does not mean to become more specialized or to be the thought leader or the go-to person. A genius zone is really can be quite a broad thing that can manifest in so many different ways. It is a bit of a mistake to think it's a technical expertise. So the frustrating thing is, you know, your genius zone is right in front of your nose. And I guess that's why it's so hard for you to find it, because for me, it's staring me right in the face. For you, it seems so non-evident. You can't find it. It's right in front of you, and it's really quite difficult. But the exciting thing is that when you do find your genius zone, a few great things happen. I mean, some really good stuff. First off, work doesn't feel like work. You're not doing work in a way that feels quite effortful. And that's because you're not training your time and effort for the hope of success at work. You don't think that you're a labor of working it, going to endless meetings and feeling like you have to put the time and effort in to get some sort of success. Because what happens is when you're working your genius zone, you actually feel energized at the end of the day. Like you can conquer the world, right? You can actually feel like you are, could even start a new day at the end of the day. So you're definitely not feeling drained. And you create impact, and it's easy. You know, you can create impact by the work that you do, and it kind of potentially grows. It sort of has a life on its own. So it's really important that you find your genius zone. Remember, you know, if you're working for a really long time, you want to be doing these things. You want to feel like it's not work and that you feel energized at the end of the day, because as you're getting older, you definitely don't want to feel the sense of drain and stress. That's not a great way to live life. So my mission in this free training is for you to discover and grow your genius zone. Okay? I mentioned before that my genius zone is training and teaching. So this gives me great joy to be able to give you this training for free, because I have a joy in putting these slides together and actually coming out and teaching to you online. I think this is really, really makes me quite happy and makes me energized at the end of this. So my mission, as I said, is I want to walk you through how you discover and grow your own genius. And if you stay at the end of the training, I will give you an opportunity to work with me, to keep working within my genius zone. And it's really quite a simple step, and you reserve your seat for only $1. Again, it's because I'm working in my genius zone and I want to spread the love around. So the first bit is the discovery. So these are 3 questions that help really unlock and uncover what is your genius zone. These are 3 simple questions. Look, there are so many different ways you can do it. I've got so much other strategies, but I thought for this free training, something really simple to get your brain going is these 3 things. The first thing is, when you were little or in school, what did you love doing? Really think this through. Go back into your memory banks. I mean, for me, when I was little, I used to drag out teddy bears and dolls, line them up in my room, pull out my chalkboard, grab chalk and start writing on the board. I mean, I was really little, so it was like, scratching, childlike writing. And I didn't even know where I got this from, but it was this idea of me teaching right from a very early age. When you think about when you were really little, what's interesting is this is a time where you're fairly confident. You haven't been criticized. You haven't been told that you can't do that. You're really being playful and open to learning, and that gives you the clues. What were you doing that really made you quite happy? And that leads on to the second one. Thinking about when you were having a great day, anytime in your career history, or even before you started a job. What are the tasks you were doing that makes you smile? So really listing out what were you doing. And it doesn't have to be within work. I mean, look at your life 7 days. Look over the whole 7 days, the week. What are the tasks that actually make you smile? What puts a big smile on your face? I mean, for me, I actually love making dinner and setting the table and making my family happy like that. And I know that underlines something that's in my genius zone, which is customer experience. I really love to create an experience. I love to entertain. So I love, planning things out when I have friends coming over, because it's all about a customer experience, actually. So even something as little as organizing great social events, that actually makes me smile, and I feel really excited about that. Other people might think, oh my God, that's dreadful, because that's within my genius zone. The other thing is, another question is asking or thinking about what other people say. Think about when someone comes up to you and says, hey, how did you do that? Really tune into that, because by doing something that gets noticed by someone else, clearly because it's not within their genius zone, they're noticing it in you, which is in your genius zone. That's pretty cool. So really tuning into what is that people are saying or commenting. I mean, I know for me, people will come up to me and say, oh, how did you put that training together? Or how did you put that product together? And for me, it's really easy, and I'm really happy about doing it. And I realize that I'm really good at being able to put psychobabble, real academic, research, scientific-based psychology into a way that everyone can understand. I can put that psychobabble into a reality that gets used by people. People actually take on the steps. I didn't realize that was within my genius zone. So I was really surprised when people sort of said, hey, how'd you do that? I tuned into that. So by going through those 3 questions, you can really uncover what is your genius zone. And by sharing my experiences, I hope that makes sense to you as to how to uncover it, how to find out what it's all about. It's really worthwhile, because your genius zones relate to something that's easy and that's natural. Okay, it's easy and it's natural. Now, I just want to put a bit of a disclaimer here. When I say it's easy and natural, it just comes to you, like it's a way of being. Does not mean it's in your comfort zone. In fact, sometimes genius zones really can push you outside your comfort zone, because that's what genius is about. It's not this safe environment. It's actually pushing you out of a comfort zone. So it's easy and natural because you don't have to think of it. It doesn't have a major cognitive load. What that means is you don't feel overwhelmed by doing the task because it makes you happy. But the way you live it and breathe it in a day-to-day to make it a successfully widely career is outside your comfort zone. So just because it's easy does not mean that it's not uncomfortable, okay? Really important. But I know you might be thinking, a couple of things. You might ask yourself as I'm going through it, and I've identified mine, that what if my genius zone really doesn't amount to anything? And this is the thing. When we look at our genius zones, we're actually very quick to dismiss it straight away. We just think it's a little zone. So let me tell you how I found my genius zone and then how I grew it as well. it's really important to understand that when you find it and then grow it, good things can happen. But we're so quick, and I'm sure you're even saying to yourself, well, my genius zone isn't really that special. Look, I analyze, I'm really good at spreadsheets, or I'm really good at reading, really complex information. It's not that much, anyone can do that. So let me tell you how I found it and then grew it. So I've identified 3 stages when growing your genius zone. Stage 1 is the volunteer it. Okay, so you get a sense of, like, you've answered the questions and think, okay, these are the things that I think I'm good at. Well, then now put your hand up for tasks, assignments, projects on a volunteer basis that stretch your ideas of what your genius zone is. In this stage, you should feel nervous and a bit unsure. Remember, I said it's outside your comfort zone. So you're testing. You're using an experimental process. You follow the what if, or what if I try this out? So when an opportunity comes, both in work, outside work, put your hand up and trial it out. From understanding from a little genius zone how to grow it, you've actually got to volunteer it and actually start seeing whether this is right or not. Now, you do feel nervous, so don't confuse nervousness, oh, this isn't right. Nervousness is like, oh, I'm outside my comfort zone. This is challenging, but I'm learning, right? It's not, when something's not right, you feel it. It's not a nervous feeling. It's more of a feeling of, no, this is not making me happy, right? This is not giving me joy. Nervousness, like, oh, first time I'm going to present. Okay, so you find I'm really good at conceptualizing ideas and telling people about it. Well, I'm going to put my hand up to do a team meeting where I present something. Yeah, I'm nervous, but I know at the end of it, I feel really good about it. Okay, you're not dreading it. So that's the volunteer stage. So it's very experimental. You're just trialing it out, seeing how that genius zone manifests from the idea that you had of, I think I'm good at this, to trialing it out. Stage 2 is then promoting it. Okay, so you've figured from the volunteer, hey, actually, I'm feeling this is pretty good. I'm actually enjoying it. Now is the time to then start locking it into an area or task. So you're starting to enjoy it. You start to promote it. You start thinking about putting it on LinkedIn or talking to your networks or putting it in your resume. Okay. Now you might think, oh my God, from volunteering to promoting it is a bit of a jump. Well, it's a stage, okay? So it might take some time. Some people it might take a month, other people it takes 6 months and a year to see how it manifests and locking it in. But you know that you're in the promoted stage where you start feeling more confident and assured because you feel comfortable promoting it to others. You feel comfortable putting it on your LinkedIn to say, hey, I'm really good at presenting ideas and thoughts. If you want me to, internally talk about my experiences, let me do that. You do, though, feel overwhelmed, actually, in this stage because there's so many possibilities and others start to notice you and you might actually get lost. So this is where you've got to be really protective of your genius zone because you've only just moved to stage 2. You've only volunteered it and promoted it. Don't get overwhelmed with other people are trying to pull you in left, right directions all over the place because they're noticing you. They're saying, hey, why don't you do this and why don't you do that? You want to really look after your genius zone so that you can make it into a wildly successful career, but not at this stage yet. You're sort of getting more confident, you're starting to promote yourself, and you're sort of feeling out where the possibilities might lie to really grow your genius zone. At the 3rd stage, then you become it, okay? Now you seem to be delivering on your genius zone, and now you can craft it to the roles that suit you, right? See, it's different. You're crafting the roles that suit your genius zone. It's not other people crafting it for you. This is a big step that I really need you to hone in on because what happens is genius zones get misused because you're in promoted stage and you're sort of jumping around saying, oh, I could do it here and here and here, without sort of taking a bit of control on how you craft it. So how do you put it within your role? How do you promote it as an add-on to the other parts of your job and your experiences, okay? You know that you're in this zone because there's lots of good stuff and this is where you want to reach. You feel excited, you feel engaged in the work that you're doing, you're very enthused. and actually a feeling of accomplishment. You're very proud of yourself. You're not feeling overwhelmed. You're actually in control of this thing, and you're actually able to do work that's within this genius zone, and it can expand on it. So it's really awesome, like getting to stage 3. But remember, there's a few stages before that. You have to discover it. You have to volunteer it to see how it would work. Then you start promoting it, and then you becoming it. You don't just jump to becoming it, okay? And that's where people get, feel a bit unhappy with it, at first, because they want to get in there and do it, but it's a slow process. But once you're there, it just runs itself almost. So this is a real takeaway: is the genius zone starts off as a little seed, and then it grows into a massive tree, right? It always starts small. So don't dismiss it. That is really first kind of secret to the genius zone. It always starts as a small thing, and you don't want to dismiss it away, make it feel insignificant, because we tend to overlook it. Okay, so how are you feeling? Do you feel ready to take up that challenge to find your genius zone and then grow it? I hope the training motivates you to take the time to reflect on this, because really think this through, but then turn it into reality. We need to make some action steps, because I'm so tired of going into workplaces and seeing really unhappy people, feeling confused about their genius zone, even though it's staring them right in the face, or dismissing it and just overlooking it and making it an insignificant thing, and therefore not being able to create a really successful career. Remember, a successful career that I'm talking about is where work isn't work, where you end up on the day, finishing up a work day, feeling energized, enthused, engaged, and you're making impact. You're actually being known for something that's really easy for you, that's really natural. Now, I know when I give these types of training, people want to know how to connect with me, so that I can work with you on your genius zone, because sometimes you need that expert advice to be able to do this. Sometimes you need that extra encouragement, and as I mentioned before, my genius zone is finding other people's genius zones. It's just a quirk that I have. So I wanted to introduce you to the Career Active workshop. So what I decided to do was really live into my genius zone of training people and teaching people, as well as turning psychobabble into reality. So using, in this workshop, I use psychology, innovation techniques, and neuroscience, brain science, to hack into your brain to find out the career pathway that gets you to that wildly successful career, where you're living in your genius zone and it's a very natural space. What I've done is pull together some of my favorite tools. So I've got so many different ways to sort of get into this thing and basically hack into it. So I thought I'd put it into a workshop. Can I just say, this workshop is live, and I won't be able to do another one for some time. So don't miss out on this. If you really think, you know what, I want to find my genius zone and I don't want to reduce it to insignificance, and then we can work together, hack into your career to uncover your genius zone, and then convert it into a wildly successful career. There's definitely an opportunity to make this into a career of yours that you'll be really proud of. Don't face it alone. Work with an expert to make it a reality. Work with someone who has worked with many, many people that can create or identify, discover, and to grow your genius zone. So reserve your seat now for just $1 today. And what you need to do to join the Career Active workshop is go to this link, careeractive.leftfieldco.com.au. It'll walk you through what the workshop's all about, and give you access to reserve your seat for $1. Seriously, $1. And if you really get excited about it, then come along, come to the session. We'll work together with others in the group, and I can try and work with you one-on-one as I can. As I said, this is the last Career Active workshop for some time. because I'm not quite sure when I'm going to do another live event. So go onto that link and hopefully we'll see you there. I hope you enjoyed the training. I hope you found ways to unlock it and feel inspired, and then come on, because it's all doable. If you need more tools and you've got really inspired by this type of training, well, there's more to come in the Career Active Workshop. Any questions, email me hello@leftfieldco.com.au or leave any comments. Hopefully see you then. Bye.